Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from the Golden Q in Hayes. The Golden Q, dining, billiards, and a whole lot more. 2 blocks east of campus. The Golden Q. If the game is on, we're open. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, and compassion.
I have a real fear that
right
the next
here.
poll that comes out, we're going to be
Adams
warned.
Brown, Strategic Allies, and
everybody
CPAs.
got beat.
Saw that.
BTI, your John Deere dealer in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Nest City, and Pratt.
Well, 3-star
BTI,
job.
our
3-star
family in
job.
partnership with
Oh,
your
well,
family.
whatever.
The Taco Shop, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. G&L Tire and Automotive, complete automotive service and repair, and tires for all driving needs.
And a good Monday. Welcome into Tiger Talk. Gerard Welbrock with you. We'll be chatting some Fort Hays State basketball. Women's coach Tony Hobson will join us first. Then we'll talk with men's coach Mark Johnson. Tiger women, a very successful weekend. Their home openers, hosting a little classic, and got 2 really hard-fought victories over 2 really good teams. It'll be fun to track St. Cloud State and Cameron as their seasons roll along. But 2 solid wins, and now getting set for the first doubleheader of the season. Tomorrow night, the men and women both at home. Ladies play a really good Sterling College team. The men will pick on Central Christian College. We'll talk about that and then talk some men's basketball. Tigers haven't played since we talked to Mark last. Their game with the Colorado School of Mines was postponed because of COVID issues with the Ore Diggers, so we'll figure out how the Tigers handled their week, and they're getting set for a couple of games this week. We are live at the Golden Q, the home of Tiger Talk. Stop on by, join us for lunch. Of course, it's Monday. That means the grilled cheeseburger is the burger of the day. You can still get their November burger of the month, the turkey jamwich. It's a great one. They've got a karaoke contest coming up here on December 7th, so make your plans on that, and they're also accepting applications for the 4th. So a lot going on here at the Golden Q. They're 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. In fact, UConn, South Carolina, maybe the biggest matchup of the year in women's basketball going on right now as we bring in head coach Tony Hobson. Next time play UConn, see if Gino will play in. Let's see if we get a trip to the Bahamas for this exhibition some year.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we didn't play down in Atlantis. Although I really enjoyed going to their places.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be bad there either. I've been in that area before, and it's really nice.
So that game is on now. Of course, they'll have games on throughout the weekend, Monday Night Football, so stop on by the Golden Q. Hey, great weekend. Obviously, a ton of question marks with Jaden going down last Saturday in St. Joe with the ankle injury. And just how would your team respond? I mean, obviously, it's like taking your starting quarterback out. I mean, the point guard has so many duties that go on beyond scoring and even assists, just getting you in your flow. And you obviously, you don't know. It's the first time you've really had to play without her, and I thought your team really responded well.
Yeah, it's like losing your quarterback, but your quarterback doesn't only plays half the game. Jaden plays the whole game, and she's a really good defender also. And so, yeah, it was pretty evident watching both our games, Friday and Saturday, that we're a little disoriented offensively and had a hard time with execution in half court especially. But our kids just showed enough relentless effort on the boards and just toughness after loose balls and second opportunities, second chance, and guarding people, that we were able to survive those 2, and that's how we're going to have to win until we get our point guards back. You know, we've got both of them sitting over there now. Hopefully, Jaden will be back next week. And then Friday we lose. Megan had a really good game up to that point. Played great off the bench, and she kind of has the same injury Jaden had, only it's not a severe. She's questionable for tomorrow even. But I hated to see her miss a game, so we were even a little more shorthanded on Saturday. But, you know, that's the reality of the situation, is you play with who you got, and our kids that we have left are all still good players, and they came here for a reason, and they've gotten some opportunities, and I think eventually, if these kids can come back from their injuries and be healthy, it will just add a little bit of depth to our team, because some of these guys now that are getting some time in pressure situations, these are not rollover games. Some of these teams are going to be, I think Sioux Falls, and I think St. Cloud, Cameron's a good squad. I mean, they're all solid teams and really good games for us to play early in the season. It's much better to win them, but they help your team get better. You aren't just padding your win total.
Well, and most of them return a lot, but they were NCAA tournament teams a year ago. I mean, you're right there. I mean, just your strength of schedule here to start the season probably as good as anybody when you consider who you played, what they did a year ago, and then what they have back. And I think what made it unique this weekend was such a contrast in style of play. You knew it was going to be that way, and to win 2 games completely different was pretty impressive, I thought.
Yeah, we really had to switch gears on Saturday, because Friday you were playing a big team that was hard to score on inside, and very veteran, attacked you in different ways, and then on Saturday you had just it was helter-skelter pressing, a lot of three-point shooting, smaller inside, but it was a challenge to get it in there. Because of the pressure up to that point. So, yeah, I thought we did a good job of adjusting, and our kids did a good job of adjusting. And one thing they didn't have to change was their effort, and that's you can have teams that are quicker than you or shoot better than you, but there's really never any excuse for a team to outwork us, and that's kind of what we've been talking about is. That's you just never can have an excuse for that. And I think when you look at how some of our kids play, that they're just, pretty relentless when it comes to just working hard. And then we had a couple kids step up offensively that we really needed. And, like you said, it's just totally different games. It's one of them, I was could look at one place for a while and there'd be a team there the next day. It was just my neck was just going, because that's how it was going to be. So I was proud of the way we played, and some of those guys that we had on the floor haven't had a lot of experience in a tight game, and I thought they held up pretty well.
Yeah, Tigers get a couple of wins. We'll talk more about that. We'll preview Tuesday, tomorrow night, Tigers in Sterling College. A little pre-Christmas basketball. We're live at the Golden Q in Hayes. It's the home of Tiger Talk, and you can participate. Send us your question. All you have to do is go to FHSUathletics.com. You'll see the tab there. Click on Fan Zone. You'll get a drop-down menu there at the very bottom. You'll see Tiger Talk. Ask the coach. Submit a question. If we use it, you got a chance to win a $25 gift certificate for some food here at the Golden Q. Tiger Talk presented by Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, where they're here to make every story shine brighter. It's the way they do banking, one story at a time. Check them out at goldenbeltbank.com. We'll take our first break. More with women's coach Tony Hobson right after this here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction. Try to reverse layup, then misses. Wagner grabs it, plays to Salik, splits 2 defenders. Her shot is blocked. Wagner gets it back, goes between 2 defenders and put it in. Wow. Fort Hays State got 3 cracks at it. Finally, Katie Wagner scores. It's her first points, and it's 14-12. Tigers have cut it to 2 after trailing by 7. Well, you mentioned the work hard factor. That was a prime example there on Friday. I think it took you 3 tries, but bottom line, you got the bucket, some great offensive rebounding, got a lot of people involved, and that's kind of been the story, especially now because you guys haven't shot the ball, I know, as well as you think you can, but really hasn't fazed you because of that great work and a lot of second chance points on this team so far this season.
Well, it'd be a lot easier if they'd go in the first time,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't always happen that way. And I think, when you aren't shooting well, I think if you have a hungry team and a team that will work, it's almost like every time a shot goes up, they go, okay, here's our chance to get one and stick it back in. Where sometimes you get a little lackadaisical if everything's going in and you quit crashing the board. So that's what it's going to take for us right now, and it's a good habit to get into anyway. But we are rebounding the ball at a pretty high rate.
Well, you got to experience a little bit of everything this weekend. One of them was falling behind. I mean, you'd led wire to wire your first 2 games, and then you had to come from behind. I think you were down 7 on Friday, down as many as 11 on Saturday, and it didn't seem to faze your team. They just kept grinding and going about their work, and also you got right back in there and had the lead.
Yeah, well, I think the best thing about those getting behind was it was fairly early in the game. I mean, first half, and you just have to keep grinding away and hope that you'll get something to drop. And we figure we tend to figure things out as we go along defensively. Something isn't working; they're scoring too easy on us, so we change it, and that's what we did. That's what we did Saturday. That kind of slowed them down a little bit, and then we had a couple people, make some big shots, and then you get the crowd into it, and it's a lot easier to play harder in front of a home crowd that's excited and into it. I mean, the thing about our fans is they don't come there to plug in their phone and listen to something else on the while they're there watching us in spirit. They're into the game, and they know what's going on, and they're vocal, and they're really good support.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere early in the season, and sometimes these December games, there's a lot or November and December, a lot going on. But yeah, it was a great crowd, great atmosphere, great games, and got a lot of contributions. And you had to like how you closed out Friday with St. Cloud. I mean, you didn't shoot it well, didn't shoot free throws well at all, but you made enough of them when the game was on the line. I think you held them without a field goal for the final 6 or so minutes. I think you scored the final 7 or 8 points to put that game away, and a lot of them were at the free throw line.
Well, they were, it came down there the last minute and a half. I mean, they were going to be because they were fouling us intentionally. But we've got to, under those situations, we have to make our free throws better than we did. We had some pretty good free throw shooters struggling. I know Whitney was 3 out of 4 down the stretch, and we missed a couple others. So, and they use, Whitney's a good free throw shooter, and she'll get that fixed. I know. So. The thing is when you can lock down defensively like that and hold a good team to no baskets for 6 minutes. Of course, my question always is, why didn't we hold them the first 6 minutes without a basket? When the thing is, when we get our back up against the wall, all of a sudden we can and are capable of doing it, and maybe not hold them without a basket, but how about just a couple instead of getting 3 or 4 dropped on us right away? I think sometimes you have to play with a little more urgency than I think we start games with. We want to get into the flow and jog up and down the floor, and no, we don't have time for that. We need to play with the same urgency at opening tip than that we do when we get down 10.
Tiger Talk brought to you by G&L Tire and Automotive. Tires for all driving conditions and budgets, along with complete automotive service and repair. And they've got their great November sale going on now. Stop on by. Some great deals at G&L Tire and Automotive. They're just east of 8th and Main on the bricks in downtown Hayes. We're going to take another break. We'll come back more with Tony Hobson of the Fort Hays State women's basketball team. Tiger Talk live from the Golden Q here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
Fifth Cameron turnover. Here comes Katie the other way. Over to Ruddle for a three-pointer. Bingo! She knocked it in. First points of the game for Emma. It's 44-42 Tigers. They match their big lead of the game. Yeah, it was a big run on Saturday. Tigers got the lead on Cameron. Had a couple of those and would go on to win that game 85-79. Struggled to score 58 on Friday, then 85 on Saturday. And I'm sure for a player, it was a fun game. Free flowing up and down. I mean, the way Cameron plays, you're the first team, I think, they had 80 at one game. Everything else had been in the 90s. They've been scoring a lot of points.
Yeah.
You kind of, relatively did a pretty good job holding them to 79, their lowest output of the year.
Yeah. Well, the way they play is going to speed up the tempo because they're full court. They almost you can't break their pressure by being under control. You have to attack it, and it leads to quicker shots, and then there's just going to be more possessions in a game like that. And we were fortunate that we had the second quarter. Lauren West was kind of, she's what I expected her to be, and she kind of carried us there offensively for a little bit, and hit a couple shots, and then Emma hit that three to put us ahead for the first time, and the crowd got into it, and then the second half, Katie Wagner's she's been nothing but great this year, and she kind of asserted herself, and they covered up Lauren a little bit, but we got some scoring from other people, and Whitney Randall chipped in there, and our two bigs are playing. They're playing fine with Olivia and Jesse. Kind of they tag team. One of them plays until it goes hard for a while. The other one comes in. They're both different type players. So we're getting some good minutes out of people, and hopefully that can continue.
You mentioned Lauren. I think she had 15 in the second, 20 in the first half. They kind of held her, which you figured should be a focal point of them defensively after halftime. But, man, 20 and a half, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. And especially, we lose Megan on Friday night, and she's, probably percentage-wise, other than Jaden, she's going to be our best three-point shooter. And Lauren's a good shooter too. But, it's getting where we've only got we don't have near as many three-point shooters as we used to, and so it was important. It was just doubly important for Lauren to kind of hit her stride a little bit offensively and really help us out.
No, hopefully it gets her going, because you kind of forget, and Dustin talked to her after the game on Friday. She hasn't played a lot of basketball in 2 years, and you kind of forget that. The transfer from UMKC, and you brought up the point for some of your team. That was their first Gross Coliseum experience with the crowd and everything, and you kind of forget what impact that has. Hopefully now they can just go out, relax, go play, and do their thing.
Yeah, well, you just think when a kid's a star on their high school team, and then goes somewhere and doesn't have a great experience and doesn't get to play a lot, they lose their confidence, actually play more as a freshman than as a sophomore, and they, you don't just open a door and that comes right back to you. It takes a little time, and I think hopefully it'll kind of get her back into the flow and get her going, and I think she's definitely capable of doing that. And Emma Ruddle, she's capable. She's just athletic, a little unpredictable, but I don't think that's ever going to go away.
No.
And I don't know if I want it to. And then Kate Dilsaver's obviously a real talented kid as far as athletic ability. And I don't know if she's ready to be in the starting lineup, but you know what? Somebody's got to be, because you got to have five out there, and I think she did fine. You got to remember that she's just 4 games into her career and still adjusting and trying to adjust to us, and a really good defender, and I think offensively she'll get smoother as we progress through the season.
Well, Tigers get a pre-Thanksgiving game tomorrow. Tune up before conference play next week, which we'll talk more about on Monday. Sterling College in one of the a scary NAIA program. They won. They went to the national tournament. I think got to the round of 16. Undefeated regular season. Only finished with one loss all year. They return pretty much their whole roster, including an All-American who has a different name because she got married in the offseason. But it's not going to be your typical NAI team you're going to play tomorrow night. It's going to be a big challenge.
Oh, no. It's I think they ended up maybe 33-1 or 34-1 last year. They've won. They're 6-0 this year. So you take their last 40 games or 41 games, and they're 40-1. And when a team gets used to just winning all the time, coming in here and playing us, it's an exhibition game for them. They'll be loose. Their 3 starting guards on the perimeter are fifth-year seniors, and all good little players. So we're going to have to be ready to go. But some of those games you could schedule, and they're not going to do you any good. I'd just as soon play somebody that's going to get your attention, that you have to prepare for just like any other game. And I coached at the NAIA level, and we played Division II teams and actually played Division I teams a couple times. And one thing I could always count on was them, number one, underestimating us, and number two, having not a lot of respect for us just because they were playing down a level. And I'll guarantee you that's not the case with us in Sterling, because they have our respect, and our kids know that we'll have to play well to beat them.
Well, and we always talk, you got to play UConn, you play KU or K-State. For them, this is that game. They don't get that opportunity, so they're going to give you their best effort.
Exactly. And it's a fun experience, fun game for them. And it's sandwiched between. They've already started some conference games. They played one Saturday. They'll play one again this Saturday. But I look for them to be, they press. I've watched several of their games. They've pressed every possession, some form of a press. They do 3 different types, and they're very organized. Their coach does a good job of taking what she has and really molding them together. They execute well offensively. We should have an advantage inside. Most times I think you should have against an NAIA team. You should be a little more physical and a little bigger. But again, you have to offset their quickness, and they really shoot it well. You got to be able to guard somebody. So hopefully we'll be okay. I think our kids will be ready to play, and should be a good game.
Yep, should be a fun one. Coach, we'll let you go. We'll see you tomorrow night. We appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully you have a good night against those Sterling Warriors.
Okay. Thanks, George.
It's Tony Hobson, coach of the Fort Hays State women. Again, they'll have a 5:30 tip tomorrow. It's a men's and women's doubleheader, first of the year, out at the Coliseum. Tiger Talk is brought to you by Adams Brown, where they do more than just run numbers and file tax returns. They work hard to become strategic allies. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs. We're live at the Golden Q, and we're back with more Tiger Talk after this timeout on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Fort Hays State can build a double-figure lead with a bucket right here. 38 seconds left in the first half. Now a pass over to Rock, a three, swish. Quinton Rock buries the right wing three-pointer. He has 11, 31 seconds to go. It's 34-23 Tigers. Yeah, some of the action from a couple of weeks ago. The Fort Hays State Tiger men getting their season off to a good 2-0 start. Haven't played since due to some COVID issues with Colorado School of Mines. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're live at the Golden Q, where the grilled cheeseburger is the burger of the day here today. Of course, they have their burger of the month still going on. The turkey jamwich getting you ready for Thanksgiving. And you got to try the appetizers. The stuffing, I'm not sure what they're actually called, but if you describe it, it's the Thanksgiving stuffing in beer batter. They'll know what you're talking about. It is phenomenal. Of course, karaoke contest coming up on December 7th, so make your plans. The Golden Q, they are 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. Tiger Talk also presented by the Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or fast delivery. You know the number, 625-7114, or you can use the handy Taco Shop app. It's the Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. We bring in head men's coach Mark Johnson, and guess you got a little in some ways maybe you had the preseason, obviously a couple scrimmages, you played the 2 games, 2 hard-fought wins, and then you get some time now, about a week and a half, to practice again before your next game. I'm sure you would have rather played last Thursday, but in a way you get a chance to maybe hone up on a few things that you didn't like from the first couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make the best of a situation. Obviously, we wanted to play. Our players, we've started doing this since late August. And then you get into real practice, and we did that for about 5 weeks, and now you want games. Players want games. Heck, coaches, we want games. And we got 2 good games in, and then, now you got to practice all week, and that can get a little monotonous. I thought our guys did a fairly good job of continuing to, work hard in practice. We preach every day. You're either getting a little better, you're getting a little worse. You never stay the same, and we need to be better going into the Central Christian game than we were coming out of the Southwest Oklahoma game. Hopefully we did that and all that. But it's difficult. They want to get some games in. We got 2 games coming up this week, headed into conference, and hopefully we'll be ready to go.
With the Colorado School of Mines, obviously tough deal with the COVID concerns on them. Any progress on a makeup date? Where does that all stand right now?
Yeah, there isn't right now. We don't have one. I mean, it's just unfortunately that's also tied with Kearney. So you're dealing with 3 teams and trying to find times for them to make it out here. They might have to do 2 separate trips. It's just then you get into with everybody doing the RMAC does it, we do it. Now you get into 22 conference games. There's just conference starts so early nowadays. It's hard to make up. It's not like last year when you're in your conference MIAA and you miss games. Well, you're missing that conference game, so you can kind of filter them in. Here, your team that's not in our league. The only way we could get them in is when we're still playing, when we already have 2 games that week, and at times that's hard. So the question is, do any of us want to in the middle to late January? Play that non-conference game on a Monday or Tuesday after you've just come off a long weekend and you got to prepare for your next weekend. So I think that's kind of why it's up in the air. It might be one of those it's there, and then we'll decide if we want to play it when it comes. You know what I mean? On both teams, how much it'll benefit. If it's going to benefit someone for NCAA tournament, someone's strength of schedule or someone one more game will make a factor, then I think we still might do it. If you end up it's not really going to mean much outside of a game, which is still big, I don't know. So I guess long answer is I don't know. Short answer is I don't know. We're working on it.
Time will tell. Stay tuned, as they say. We'll let you know when there's updates, but certainly hopefully you can get it in and find a way. I think even though they started 0-2, they're going to be a really good team, and should be a fun game. But as you said, you got a little bit extra time to work on. What were some of those things you saw in the first 2 games? Obviously 2 good wins, did a lot of things well, but every coach, you can play the perfect game and you'll find something that you got to improve on. What were some of the focus areas you guys had here the last week and a half of practice?
Yeah, it's been said forever, and it always is so true. You're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as good as you think you are. You think, boy, we can't be any worse. And you watch film a lot of times, like, well, we weren't as bad as I thought, or boy, I thought we were tremendous this weekend. And then you watch film, you're like, well, we weren't as good as I thought. We can improve. And I think a little bit of the same thing for us. Great week for us, but there are a lot of things we got to correct. I think more so I like what we did defensively a lot. I think our big guys are coming over to the ball a lot better. We're contesting shots at the rim a lot better than we did a year ago. Offensively, we're stagnant a little bit still. We don't have the movement I felt like we had at the end of last year. Now, granted, we've kind of tweaked some things and all that, but I think defense. It always you should be ahead of defensively and offensively. But I think offensively we got to continue to get better. We got to shoot it better. We got to a lot of times you run better offense, then that's going to lead to better shots lead to better shooting percentages.
Well, and you do have a few new faces, and even some of the faces there didn't play nearly as much last year because of injury. And I guess if nothing else, this week's another week to work and get a flow and get a feel, and the timing and all those things that go on among players when they're on the floor. Another chance to work on that this week.
Yeah, every year and every team is different. I don't care if you have 12 people back or 0 people back. Everybody's role kind of changes, even though we have a lot of guys back. But yeah, Jeff, this was his first weekend at Fort Hays State. Gabe was injured, and I wouldn't say last year was really much of a thing for him, just because he was, his leg, he just couldn't, we tried to bring him back. He played little, and I felt like as the season progressed, he started playing less and less just because he wasn't quite able to move. And, Nige and Caleb, for the most part, last year when Nige finally came back, they were probably subbing for each other. This was the first time they really played significant minutes with each other. So I think there's always a thing in that. But yeah, it was a great, it's good to get experience and be winning at the same time. And hopefully this week we can continue to win and keep gaining experience.
Well, it's kind of interesting with Nige and Caleb. I mean, they each bring you something different. I mean, Nige's got that, that calming influence and handles the ball well, which you like. But then Hammock, he brings you that juice, as used the word a lot, but just gives you that little something extra. Maybe Nige, they're very complementary players to one another.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Nige's, like I said, calm, under control, not going to get too crazy. Shoots it fairly pretty well. And then Caleb's a guy. I mean, you got to have a guy that can make plays. You know what I mean? And Caleb's a guy that can get downhill. He's super athletic. He can make a lot of things happen. So they're kind of, a good mix for each other. I think Quentin kind of fits in there a little bit, maybe a little combination of both. Not quite as physical as those other guys, and that holds him up at times. But shoots it fairly well, like Nige, and then is quick enough to probably does a little more creating and off the bounce at times and all that. So those three guys together have been a nice little mix for us. And it's just nice this year to have more options. Last year with injuries, we were so limited. If those guys didn't play good, we didn't have a chance. Now, if look at the first game, Quentin came in the first half, and really, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had a double-figure lead at halftime. He had all 11 points, was really good. You're hoping with 3 of them, at least one, hopefully 2 out of the 3 are going to be playing well that night, and you don't have to rely on one person.
No, the Tigers got the 2 wins, and now they'll get a couple of non-conference games before the start of MIAA play, which, hard to believe, is a little over a week away. We'll talk about Central Christian and Manhattan Christian. They'll be coming to town this week to take on the Fort Hays State Tigers. We are live at the Golden Q, the burger of the month, the Turkey Jamwich. It's a Monday. That means the grill cheeseburger is the sandwich of the day, so check it out. Of course, they've got basketball on. The UConn South Carolina women's game wrapping up. It's on Monday Night Football tonight. Lots of college basketball, so make it all part of your Thanksgiving week plans to stop by the Golden Q. They're 2 blocks east of campus. Tiger Talk also brought to you by BTI. They're your John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI. Our family in partnership with your family. We'll take a break. More Tiger Talk after this on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at HaysPost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Nige drives to Hamperian, left corner 3, bingo, right in front of the Tiger bench. Jeff Hamperian's second bucket. They both have been 3s. Yeah, some of the highlights from a couple of weeks ago, about a week and a half ago. 4-day stayed at home, getting a couple of nice wins over Arkansas Tech and southwestern Oklahoma State, the Bulldogs, and got off to a nice 2-0 start. Here to highlight there from Jeff Amperian, one of the new faces on the team. I know you talked about him last time on the show, just what he brings, some toughness, able to hit the boards, rebound, good defensively, and that outside shooting. I mean, that's maybe at times it's lacked at key times, but you have that one guy that puts that ball through, that can be contagious for everybody.
Yeah, you're looking after last year, obviously Jared's Jared, and really like B and Gilbert, but we just felt like we needed to bring another guy in that can play along Jared, that can shoot the ball to make the defense stay honest and have to stay out there. And if they help, he went 6 of 10 for the weekend. I mean, hopefully that can continue. I mean, but that'll be hard. But, I mean, he can really shoot it. But even, if they have to stay out on him, that just opens the floor up for Jared more. It opens up for Caleb and those guys. So, he just really, played really well and did everything we were hoping he was able to do for us. And, so it was a good pickup for us. We think he'll really help us.
Gilbert Peters really didn't get to be a big part of it, just the way the games were going. I know he's a guy you still feel can really help you out. He's lost some weight. You can see he's moving around the floor a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to run into some guys, that has some big guys, and he has to be out there. He can push them off the block. And, there's just not as many as there used to be. The game has changed so much. And then, the second part with Gilbert and a lot of these guys, and it's hard on them, is like, we never thought Jared would be playing this year. You know what I mean? When we recruited all these guys, this was the year, those guys get some experience when you're younger. Well, now, I always say that the 4 and 5 position, there's 80 minutes. That's it. There's no more than 80 minutes. Well, Jared's going to get 35 of those now. So now there's only 45 minutes, and, B's doing some good things, and at times defensively, B's probably a better fit with Jared. So it's just hard for Gilbert right now to get on. Again, no fault of his own. I think he's worked hard. He's got in shape. He's a better player. Just Jared's using a COVID year, and but again, we're going to face Isaiah Wades of the world and some of these guys. Emporia has some big guys that Gilbert might, Gilbert usually does a pretty good job pushing guys off the block and making it hard for them around the rim.
That good point about the COVID year certainly has changed for everybody. Some of the traditional 4-year, now 5-year, and in some cases 6 years for guys. All right, couple of non-conference games before MIAA play. Central Christian tomorrow. They've traditionally been pretty good. I mean, they've really elevated their program. You've played them a lot. And then Manhattan Christian, who on their level the last 2 years have been really, really good. They've made the National Collegiate Christian Athletic Association tournament last couple of years. So there'll be some decent tests for you guys this week.
Central Christian's upgraded their program. They joined the Sooner Athletic Conference, which historically has been the best NAI league in the country. They're giving full rides now and all that. So they got some athletic guys who are attempting 33s a game. That's dangerous. You let them, attempt 30 and they end up making 12, 13, 14, 15, you're in trouble. So that'll be a good test for us, and be the first time we've ever played Manhattan Christian. Right now I don't know a whole lot about them, but like you said, I do know at third level they've had success. So hopefully we can do well, play well, be nice. Elijah's real close. Maybe we could get him in. Be nice to be able to play him a few minutes, and he's not ready to win us a game right now, but hopefully we can get him in a little bit this week, the next 2 games somewhat, and have a little bit of game experience going into Washburn.
Yeah, we'll talk more next week about it. But, yeah, next week it's conference week. And, boy, 2 toughies. You start at Washburn and in Emporia State for your first week.
Yeah. I mean, tough out of the block. You look at our first 2 weeks, you got those 2 guys, and you come home, and, you got Kearney and then Central Oklahoma after that. So this first semester, it seems like the last 2 years we've really dug ourselves a hole. We hopefully we can get off to a much better. It won't be easy with those first 2 road games, that's for sure. I would say of our 22 games, those arguably could be 2 of your top 5 hardest conference games you play all season. But hopefully we can, figure it out and get off to a positive start.
Yeah, the old adage, you can't win a conference championship in the first 2 weekends of the season, but you can certainly make it hard to win one, and hopefully you get off to a good start. Coach, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll see you tomorrow night at the Coliseum.
All right, thanks, George.
That's going to wrap up Tiger Talk for today. Again, a reminder, doubleheader tomorrow. First time this season. Women at 5:30 with Sterling. men will tip off at around 7:30 with Central Christian. Then a men's-only game. That'll be a Sunday afternoon game with Manhattan Christian. A 2 o'clock tip. We're on the air at 1:30 Sunday afternoon and 5:05 tomorrow night over on Tiger Radio Mix 103. Tiger Talk brought to you by Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, The Taco Shop, BTI, Hayes Orthopedic Institute, and G&L Tire and Automotive, and of course by the Golden Q, 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. We'll see you next Monday here on Tiger Talk.